Maybe that gospel invitation calling the weary to find rest sounds very apropos for any among us who fought some traffic to get to Cape Cod on this beautiful summer weekend. But Jesus perhaps had more in mind than vacation when he spoke those soothing words to his disciples some 2 millennia ago in Galilee. Jesus is obviously comparing himself to other religious teachers and preachers of his day, especially those who were highly credentialed, those considered wise and learned like the scribes and the Pharisees. Because Jesus was not formally schooled in the law and the prophets, as were the rabbis of Jerusalem in his day. Yet, Jesus knew the law and the prophets better than those who had been educated, because he knew the Spirit as well as the letter of the law, and he knew the heart as well as the head of the prophets. Indeed, when Jesus refers to the yoke, he is speaking of that which can control a person's life. And he knew that the 613 individual laws, which according to the scribes and Pharisees had to be observed to the letter, was a yoke that most people found very burdensome. It was an obligation that could end up fostering resentment, as people's ability to comply with all those laws was certainly something that was often discouraging. Yet while Jesus said that he did not come to abolish the law and the prophets, he knew that the religious professionals of his day, while well-intentioned, had things a bit backwards, because they believed that strict observance of the letter of the law was a discipline that brought a person close to God and so rendered them righteous, holy. But Jesus sees things a bit differently. He invites his disciples to come close to God first through a relationship with him, who is not demanding and judgmental, but indeed meek and humble of heart. Then, out of love for God through him, the observance of the law would become all that much easier. Indeed, while the outward behavior of a disciple of the scribes and Pharisees and those of Jesus might not appear all that different, those of the former would be doing what they were doing out of obligation, while the disciples of Jesus would be observing the law out of love. The difference is going from the burden of having to the joy of wanting to. That is the difference, and it is not insignificant. So today, as we hear this gospel, we might assess where we are in terms of this whole issue. Are we following the tenets of our religion because we believe it is a necessary obligation that will put us in right relationship with God? Or are we in right relationship with God through a friendship with his Son, Jesus Christ, and thus happily trying to comply with God's law? To make it very direct and simple, we can ask ourselves, if we came here to Mass this evening out of obligation, or did we come out of love? Did we come with resentment, or did we come with joy in our hearts? Did we come to get credit for coming, or did we come to render our worship out of love and gratitude? All of our behavior is exactly the same. We are all here, but it's what's in our hearts that matters, because that is what God sees. And indeed, in the end, it reveals whether we are followers of the Pharisees or disciples of Jesus. And that makes all the difference, doesn't it?